It was just a normal night. A driver accepted a ride, nothing unusual. The passenger got in, sat quietly in the back seat. No talking. No movement. After 10 minutes. The driver checked the mirror. And realized. There was no one sitting there. But the app still showed. Trip in progress. And that's not even the worst part. Because what these drivers experienced was not just strange. It was something that followed them home. Something that didn't want the ride to end. Tonight, I'm going to share with you 5 disturbing true rideshare horror stories that will make you think twice before accepting your next ride. These are not made-up stories. These are real experiences from real drivers who wish they never pressed accept. So if you are alone right now, maybe turn on a light. Because some of these stories don't stay inside the car. And before we continue, make sure you're already subscribed to the channel. Drop a like if you enjoy dark stories. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I always like to see how far these stories travel across the world. Now, let's begin. I've been driving for a rideshare app for about 3 years now. Nothing too crazy ever happened to me, at least, that's what I used to say. Most nights were boring. Pick someone up, drop them off, maybe deal with a rude passenger or two, and that's it. But there was one night. One ride. That completely changed the way I look at this job forever. And honestly, I don't think I'll ever forget it. This happened about a year ago. It was late, around 2:30 a.m. I remember the time clearly because I had just told myself I was done for the night. I was tired, my eyes were heavy, and I just wanted to go home. But then I got one last request. Now, if you've ever done ride-share driving, you know how it is. That one last ride feeling. You think, okay, just one more, then I'm done. And that's exactly what I did. Big mistake. The pickup location was a little weird. It wasn't a house. It wasn't a bar. It wasn't even a proper street. It was some kind of empty parking lot, near an old shopping center that had been closed for years. The place was almost completely dark. Only one flickering streetlight was working. I remember slowing down as I pulled in, thinking, why would anyone request a ride from here at this time? But hey, people do weird things at night. So I didn't question it too much. Then I saw him. Standing under that flickering light. Not moving. Just, standing there. He was tall. Really tall. Wearing a long dark coat, even though it wasn't that cold. His head was slightly tilted down, so I couldn't clearly see his face. And for some reason, he wasn't looking at his phone. Most passengers are always checking their phone, making sure it's the right car. But this guy? He was just waiting. Like he already knew I was coming. I slowly pulled up next to him. For a second, he didn't move at all. Then suddenly, he stepped forward. And opened the back door. No greeting. No, hey, or, how are you? Nothing. He just got in and closed the door quietly. Are you Daniel? I asked. There was a short pause. Then he said. Yes. His voice was low. Almost too calm. Something about it felt off. But again, I tried to ignore it. I started the ride. The destination was about 25 minutes away. And here's where things started getting uncomfortable. Normally, I don't mind quiet passengers. In fact, I prefer them. But this wasn't normal quiet. This was heavy. Like the kind of silence that makes you aware of every little sound. The engine. The tires on the road. Even your own breathing. I glanced at him in the rearview mirror. He was sitting perfectly still. Looking straight ahead. Not at his phone. Not out the window. Just, forward. And then I noticed something strange. His eyes. They weren't blinking much. At all. About 10 minutes into the ride. He finally spoke again. "Do you drive this late every night?" I shrugged a little. "Yeah, sometimes. Depends on the day." Another pause. Then he said. "That's dangerous." I gave a small awkward laugh. "Yeah. I guess it can be sometimes." Then he leaned forward slightly. Just enough that I could see more of his face in the mirror. And that's when I noticed. He was smiling. But not in a normal way. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't even natural. It was just, there. Like it didn't belong. "People disappear at night," he said quietly. I didn't respond to that. I just focused on the road. Trying to keep things normal. Trying to convince myself that this guy was just, weird. Nothing more. But then. My phone screen flickered. The GPS glitched for a second. And suddenly. The route changed. Instead of the main road. It redirected me to a much darker, empty side road. One I had never taken before. I frowned. "That's weird," I muttered. "I think the app is glitching." "From the back seat," he said calmly. "No, that's the right way." Something in my chest tightened. I checked the map again. It didn't look right. But the app still showed the same destination. "I usually don't go this way," I said. Trying to sound casual. He leaned back again. And said something that made my hands go cold. "You should." At that moment. I had a very strong feeling. That something was not right. And that's where I made my second mistake. Instead of canceling the ride. Instead of trusting my gut. I turned onto that dark road. And the second I did. My signal dropped. No internet. No GPS. No way to track the ride. And when I looked in the rearview mirror again. He was no longer looking forward. He was staring directly at me. Without blinking. The moment my signal dropped. I felt it. That quiet panic. The kind that starts small, but grows fast. I tapped my phone screen a few times. No service. No GPS. The map was frozen. Just a blank dark line ahead. Looks like I lost signal," I said, trying to sound normal. No response. I looked in the rearview mirror again. He was still staring at me. Not blinking. Not moving. Just, watching. I quickly looked back at the road. My hands were starting to feel a little shaky now. "Don't worry," he said after a few seconds. His voice calm. Too calm. "It happens out here." Out here. That word stuck in my head. I glanced around. And that's when I really noticed where I was. There were no streetlights anymore. No houses. No other cars. Nothing. Just a narrow road. Surrounded by trees on both sides. And it was completely silent. I swallowed. "Hey, are you sure this is the right way?" I asked. A small pause. Then. "Yes." Something about the way he said it. Didn't feel like an answer. It felt like a command. I kept driving. But now, slower. Much slower. My eyes kept moving between the road. And the mirror. He hadn't changed position. Still sitting upright. Still staring. Then suddenly. My phone screen flickered again. For just a second. The GPS came back. And what I saw. Made my heart drop. The destination was gone. There was no endpoint anymore. No address. No route. Just a blinking dot. Moving deeper into nowhere. What the? I whispered. What's wrong? He asked. I hesitated. I think the app reset or something. Your destination disappeared. Silence. Then he said something that made my stomach twist. That's okay. I slowly looked in the mirror. I'll tell you where to go. There was something very wrong now. And I knew it. Every instinct in my body was telling me. This isn't right. Stop the car. End the ride. But I didn't. Instead, I asked. Where exactly are we going? He leaned forward again. Closer this time. Just keep driving, he said quietly. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. No. I mean like, do you have an address or? Keep driving. This time. His voice was sharper. Not loud. But firm. I didn't say anything after that. The road kept going deeper. Darker. Narrower. And then. I noticed something else. The trees. They were getting thicker. Closer to the road. Almost like they were closing in. I tried to shake the feeling off. Tried to stay focused. Then suddenly. Slow down. His voice came again. There. I looked ahead. There was a small dirt path. Barely visible from the road. If he hadn't pointed it out, I would have driven right past it. There? I asked. Yes. No. I can't take the car in there, I said quickly. That's not a road. Silence. Then slowly. He said. You can. I felt a chill run down my spine. No, I'm sorry, I said. I'll have to end the ride here. You can request another. Don't. That one word stopped me. I don't know why. But it did. The car felt different now. Like the air itself had changed. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. Just take me a little further, he said. Not far. I hesitated. Every part of me was screaming in oh. But then I thought. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe this guy just lives somewhere off-road. Maybe it's normal. That thought was my third mistake. Slowly. I turned the wheel. And drove into the dirt path. The car shook as the tires hit uneven ground. Small rocks crunching underneath. Branches scraped lightly against the sides. It was getting darker. Even darker than before. After about a minute. I realized something. There was no way this was a real road. No tracks. No signs. Nothing. Okay, this is far enough, I said. I can't go any deeper. No response. I looked in the mirror again. He was still smiling. But this time. Wider. Just a little more, he whispered. And then. My headlights flickered. Once. Twice. And for a split second. The lights went out completely. Total darkness. My heart jumped. The lights came back on. And that's when I saw it. Something ahead. A shape. Standing in the middle of the path. I slammed the brakes. What the? It looked like a person. Tall. Still. Just standing there. I couldn't see the face clearly. But I could tell one thing. They were not moving. At all. Do you see that? I said quickly. From the back seat. A soft voice replied. Yes. I felt my throat go dry. Who is that? I asked. No answer. Instead, I heard something behind me. Movement. Slow. Very close. I looked in the mirror. And he was no longer sitting back. He was leaning forward. Right behind my seat. Close enough that I could hear his breathing. Drive, he whispered. I froze. I'm not going near that, I said. My voice shaking now. Then suddenly, his hand touched my shoulder. Cold. Way too cold. And he squeezed, just a little. Drive. At that moment, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't in control anymore. I froze the moment his hand touched my shoulder. It didn't feel normal. It wasn't just cold. It felt wrong. Like something that shouldn't be there. Drive. He said it again. Soft. But this time, closer to my ear. My whole body went stiff. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to go forward. But I also didn't want to find out what would happen if I didn't. So slowly. Very slowly. I lifted my foot off the brake. The car started moving again. Straight toward that figure. The person standing in the middle of the path didn't react. Didn't move. Didn't step aside. They just stood there. Waiting. Stop the car, I said under my breath. More to myself than to him. But I didn't stop. Because his hand was still on my shoulder. And now, it was pressing harder. Keep going, he whispered. My heart was pounding so loud, I could barely hear anything else. The headlights lit up the figure more clearly now. It was a woman. I think. Long hair. Hanging down over her face. Her clothes looked dirty. Almost torn. And the way she was standing. It wasn't normal. Her head was tilted slightly to the side. Too far. Like her neck wasn't straight. I felt a wave of fear hit me. This isn't right, I said quietly. No answer. Who is she? I asked again. From behind me. I heard him breathe in slowly. Then he said. She's waiting. Waiting? For what? For who? I asked. This time. He didn't answer. The car kept rolling forward. Closer. Closer. And then. Something happened that made my blood run cold. The woman moved. Not a normal step. Not like walking. She jerked. Like her body glitched. 1 second she was still. The next, she was slightly closer. I slammed the brakes. I'm not doing this. I said loudly. The car stopped hard. For a second. Everything was silent. Then slowly. Very slowly. The man in the back seat laughed. Not loud. Not crazy. Just a quiet, breathing laugh. You were doing so well, he said. My hands were shaking now. Get out, I said. I'm ending the ride. Get out of my car. Silence. Then. No. That one word. Felt heavier than anything else. I grabbed my phone quickly. Trying to call for help. Still no signal. Nothing. My chest felt tight. Please, just get out, I said. Now my voice was breaking. And then suddenly. The car door behind me clicked. Unlocked. I didn't touch it. I didn't press anything. But I heard it clearly. Click. I slowly looked in the mirror. And he was smiling again. Wider than before. Let her in. My heart stopped. What? I whispered. Let her in. I looked forward. The woman was no longer in the middle of the road. She was right next to my car. At the passenger door. I didn't even see her move. She was just there. Standing right outside. Her head still tilted. Her hair covering her face. And then slowly. She lifted her hand. And tapped on the window. Tap. 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 I couldn't breathe. No, 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 I muttered. Open the door, the man whispered. I'm not opening anything. I said quickly. The tapping continued. Slower now. More, deliberate. Tap. 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 And then. The window fogged slightly. Like she was breathing on it. Even though it wasn't that cold. A shape started to form on the glass. Like something was being drawn. From the outside. I stared at it. It looked like a handprint. But wrong. Too long. Too thin. I quickly looked back in the mirror. And my stomach dropped. The back seat was empty. He was gone. Just gone. No door sound. No movement. Nothing. My heart started racing even faster. Where? Before I could finish. I felt something. Right next to me. From the passenger side. A slow movement. I turned my head. And the door was unlocking. By itself. Click. And the handle started to move. Someone was opening it. The moment I saw the passenger door handle move, something inside me snapped. I didn't think anymore. I didn't try to understand what was happening. I just reacted. I slammed my foot on the gas. The car jerked forward hard. The door, which had just started to open, slammed shut again. I didn't look back. I didn't look to the side. I just drove. Branches scraped loudly against the car as I pushed forward through the narrow dirt path. My heart was racing so fast it felt like it would explode. Go, 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 I kept whispering to myself. The headlights shook with every bump. The road, if you could even call it that, was rough, uneven, and barely visible. I didn't care. I just needed to get out of there. I glanced quickly at the passenger side. The woman was gone. Just gone. Like she was never there. No, 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 I muttered. I looked in the rearview mirror again. The back seat was still empty. The man was gone too. That made no sense. There was no way he could have left the car without me noticing. No door sound. No movement. Nothing. But he wasn't there anymore. And somehow, that felt worse. Because now, I didn't know where he was. I kept driving as fast as I could. The dirt path twisted slightly. Then suddenly, the car hit something hard. Thud. I lost control for a second. The steering wheel jerked in my hands. Damn it. I slammed the brakes. The car came to a stop. Breathing hard. I looked ahead. A fallen tree branch. Big enough to block the path. Are you kidding me? I whispered. I looked around quickly. No other path. No way around. I had to turn back. And that thought made my stomach drop. Because turning back meant going the same way I came. Back to where they were. I sat there for a second. Trying to think. Trying to calm down. Okay, just turn around, I told myself. My hands were shaking badly now. I slowly put the car in reverse. The headlights shifted as I turned the wheel. The trees around me looked different now. Darker. Closer. Like they were watching. I turned the car around carefully. And the moment I faced back the way I came, my headlights lit up something in the distance. And my heart dropped instantly. There was someone standing on the path again. Same place. Same distance. But this time, I knew. It was him. The man. Standing in the middle of the road. Not moving. I froze. No, no, that's not possible, I whispered. He was in my car. Then he disappeared. And now. He was out there. My breathing got heavier. Think, I told myself. Maybe it's someone else. Maybe I'm just imagining things. But deep down, I knew I wasn't. I slowly reached for the door lock button. Click. Locked. All doors. I didn't want to take any chances. The figure didn't move. Just stood there. Waiting. Again. Just like before. I wasn't doing this again. No, I said firmly. I'm not going near you. I turned the wheel slightly. Thinking maybe I could drive off into the side. But the trees were too thick. Too close. There was no space. I was stuck. The path ahead blocked by him. The path behind blocked by the fallen tree. I was trapped. Then suddenly. Tap. I froze. That sound came from inside the car. Not outside. Slowly. Very slowly. I looked in the rearview mirror. And my entire body went cold. He was back. Sitting in the back seat. Right behind me. Like he never left. Smiling. You shouldn't have left her, he said softly. My voice shook. You weren't there, you. I never left. My brain couldn't process it. That's not possible, I whispered. He leaned forward again. Closer than ever. You don't understand, he said. His voice sounded different now. Deeper. Some rides don't end. I felt tears forming in my eyes. I just want to go home, I said. For the first time. His smile faded slightly. And then he said something. That I will never forget. You will. A pause. But not the way you think. At that exact moment. The headlights flickered again. And for a split second. Everything went dark. When the lights came back on. The man in front of the car. Was closer. Much closer. Too close. And this time. I could see his face clearly. And it was the same face. The same man. Who was sitting behind me. For a moment. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. My brain just stopped. The same man. One sitting behind me. And one standing in front of my car. Both real. Both there. No, this isn't real, I whispered. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the steering wheel. I looked in the mirror again. He was still there. Sitting calmly. Smiling. Watching me. Then I looked forward. The other one. Took a step closer. Slow. Deliberate. My chest felt tight. I'm dreaming, I said. I have to be dreaming. From the back seat. You're not. His voice was calm. Almost gentle now. I shook my head. No, this doesn't make sense. Another step. The man outside was getting closer. The headlights lit up his face more clearly. Same eyes. Same smile. Same everything. It was like looking at a reflection. But something was wrong. The one outside looked empty. Like there was nothing behind his eyes. Just a shell. "Who are you?" I asked. My voice barely coming out. The man behind me leaned closer. "You already know," he whispered. "I don't," I said quickly. "Just tell me what you want." Silence. Then slowly, he said, "You picked me up." That answer made no sense. "Yeah, that's my job," I said. Another pause. Then, "No." His voice dropped lower. "You shouldn't have." A chill ran down my spine. The man outside the car stopped walking. Now he was just a few feet away. Close enough that I could see every detail of his face. And then, he smiled wider. Too wide. Wider than a normal face should allow. My stomach twisted. "Please, just let me go," I said. "I won't say anything. I won't." "You already came too far." That sentence hit hard. Too far. What did that even mean? Suddenly, the man outside raised his hand and placed it slowly on the hood of my car. I flinched. His fingers dragged slightly across the surface, making a soft, scraping sound. And at the same time, I felt something behind me. A second hand, resting lightly on the back of my seat. I didn't need to look. I knew it was him. "You brought me here," the voice behind me said. My breathing became fast and shallow. "I didn't know." "I didn't know," I whispered. "That doesn't matter." The man outside started moving again. This time, he walked to the driver's side. My side. "No, no, no," I said, shaking my head. He stopped right next to my window. Just inches away. And then slowly, he leaned down, trying to look inside. But his face was too close. Pressed almost against the glass. I turned my head away quickly. "I can't do this. I can't," I said. Then suddenly, bang! I jumped. He hit the window. Hard. The glass shook. "Open the door," the voice behind me whispered. "No." I shouted. Another bang. This time louder. The man outside hit the window again. Crack. A small crack formed in the glass. My heart dropped. "No, no, no." "Open it," the voice repeated. "I'm not opening anything." Bang. The crack spread slightly. The man outside smiled wider. Almost like he was enjoying it. "Stop!" I screamed. Bang. The window shook again. I realized something terrifying. The glass wasn't going to hold much longer. I had seconds. Maybe less. I looked forward. Looked around. Think. 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 Then suddenly, an idea hit me. It was risky. Stupid, maybe. But it was something. I gripped the steering wheel tight. And slammed my foot on the gas. The engine roared. The car jerked forward violently. The man outside got hit. I felt the impact. Thud. His body rolled off the hood. I didn't stop. I kept driving. Fast. Back toward the main road. Branches hit the car hard. Scratching. Snapping. I didn't care. I just needed to get out. I looked in the mirror. And my blood ran cold again. He was still there. Sitting in the back seat. Completely calm. Like nothing just happened. "You can't leave," he said softly. My voice broke. Watch me. I pushed the car harder. Faster. And then suddenly, the trees started to thin out. I could see it. The main road. Just ahead. Hope hit me like a wave. I'm getting out. I'm getting out, I whispered. But then, the man behind me said something. That made that hope disappear instantly. You forgot something. I frowned. What? A pause. Then. Her. My stomach dropped. Before I could react, I heard it. From the passenger seat. A slow, wet breath. I wish I could say I stopped using rideshare apps after what happened before. But life doesn't always give you easy choices. This story happened about a year ago. It was late. Around 1:30 a.m. I had just finished a long shift at a small restaurant. My phone battery was low, my body was tired, and I just wanted to get home as fast as possible. I opened the rideshare app. There were only a few drivers available. One of them was very close. Name, Daniel. Car, black sedan. Rating, 5.0 stars. Trips, 12. Now, that number was a little low. But I didn't think too much about it. I booked the ride. The car arrived in less than 2 minutes. That was the first strange thing. Usually, it takes longer, even if the driver is close. The car pulled up quietly. Too quietly. No music. No engine noise. Nothing. I walked up to the car and opened the back door. Hey. Daniel? I asked. The driver nodded. He didn't speak. That was the second strange thing. Most drivers at least say something like, hello, or, good evening. But not him. I sat down in the back seat. The inside of the car smelled weird. Not bad. Just empty. Like there was no scent at all. No air freshener. No human smell. Nothing. I told him my address. He didn't respond. He just started driving. At first, everything seemed normal. We were on the right road. The GPS on my phone matched the route. But then, I noticed something. The driver was not looking at the road properly. He kept staring straight ahead. Not blinking much. Not checking mirrors. Not reacting to anything. It felt robotic. I tried to make conversation. So, busy night? No answer. I waited a few seconds. Still nothing. I leaned forward a bit. Hey, can you hear me? Slowly, very slowly. He nodded again. But still didn't speak. That's when I started to feel uncomfortable. About 10 minutes into the ride. My phone battery died. And suddenly, I felt completely alone. No GPS. No way to track the route. Just me, and this silent driver. That's when the road changed. We turned onto a street I didn't recognize. It was darker. No street lights. No houses. Just trees. This isn't the right way, I said. No response. My heart started beating faster. Hey, you missed the turn, I said louder. Still nothing. The car kept moving. Slow, steady, silent. Now I was scared. Really scared. I reached for the door handle. Locked. All doors were locked. Open the door, I said. Nothing. Open the door right now. Still nothing. That's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. There was no ride information visible anymore. The small screen in the front, where drivers usually have navigation. It was off. Completely black. So, what was he following? I started thinking fast. I needed a plan. I leaned forward again. Listen. I think there's been a mistake. You can just drop me here. No reaction. Not even a nod this time. He just kept driving. Same speed. Same blank expression. Then suddenly, the car slowed down. We were in the middle of nowhere. No buildings. No lights. Just an empty road surrounded by trees. The car stopped. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The driver didn't turn around. Didn't say anything. Just sat there. Then, the doors unlocked. Click. For a second, I didn't move. I didn't understand what was happening. Was this my chance? Or was this part of something worse? I slowly opened the door. The cold air hit my face. I stepped out of the car. And the moment my feet touched the ground, the car drove away. Fast. Really fast. Like it didn't want to be there. I stood there, alone, in complete darkness. No signal. No lights. No sound. Just trees, and silence. I turned around. The car was gone. No headlights. No tail lights. Nothing. It was like it disappeared. I started walking. I didn't know where I was going. I just kept moving. After about 20 minutes, I finally saw lights in the distance. A small gas station. I ran toward it. Inside, there was a man at the counter. I must have looked crazy. Breathing hard. Sweating. Shaking. "Please, can I use your phone?" I asked. He looked concerned, but nodded. I called a friend. They came and picked me up. Later that night, I checked my ride history. And this is the part that still scares me the most. There was no record of the trip. No driver named Daniel. No black sedan. Nothing. It was like, the ride never happened. I contacted support the next day. They told me, there is no record of that ride on your account. I even checked my bank statement. No charge. No payment. Nothing. So tell me, if there was no ride, then who picked me up that night? And why did he take me there? Even now, I don't take rides alone at night anymore. And every time I open the app, I check the driver details again, and again. Because I keep thinking, what if I see that name again? Daniel. This happened about 2 years ago. I was coming back from a late-night birthday party. It was fun, but long. By the time I left, it was almost 2 a.m. I didn't want to drive. I was tired. So I did what I always do. I booked a ride. The driver accepted quickly. Name, Marcus. Car, silver SUV. Rating, 4.9 stars. Everything looked normal. I stepped outside and waited. After a few minutes, the car pulled up. The headlights flashed once. I walked toward it. Before I could even open the door, the window rolled down. And the driver looked at me and said, "Hey, Jason. Long night, huh?" I froze. I never told him my name. Not out loud. Yes, it shows on the app. But something about the way he said it felt wrong. Too familiar. Too personal. I laughed nervously. Yeah. I guess. I got in the car. That was my first mistake. The inside of the car was clean. Too clean. Like nobody had ever sat there before. No trash. No smell. No signs of life. Marcus looked normal. Mid-30s. Short hair. Calm face. But his eyes. They felt empty. Not angry. Not friendly. Just blank. We started driving. For the first few minutes, everything was fine. Then he spoke again. You don't usually stay out this late. My heart skipped. What? I asked. He smiled slightly. I mean, you look like someone who prefers quiet nights. I forced a smile. Yeah, sometimes. But inside. I was confused. How could he guess that so accurately? Then he said something else. Something that made my stomach drop. Your mom must be worried. I felt cold. What did you say? He kept his eyes on the road. I said, it's late. Your mom might be worried. I stared at him. I hadn't mentioned my family. Not once. And I live alone. How would he even know I talk to my mom often? I tried to stay calm. Maybe he was just guessing. Maybe it was coincidence. But then. He said my street name. Out loud. Before we even got close. We'll be turning left on Oak Ridge Street soon, he said. That's when I knew. Something was very wrong. I slowly took out my phone. I pretended to check something. But really. I was trying to stay alert. My hands were shaking. I checked the map. We were still on the right route. But I didn't feel safe anymore. Then Marcus started talking again. Softly. Like he was thinking out loud. You've lived there for, what, 3 years now? I felt my chest tighten. I didn't answer. I couldn't. He chuckled quietly. I'm good with memory. That was it. That was the moment fear took over. I leaned forward slightly. Hey, can you just drop me here? We were still a few streets away from my house. He didn't respond. I said it again. Please. I'll get out here. Silence. Then slowly. He locked the doors. Click. My heart started racing. Open the door. Nothing. Open the door. Still nothing. The car kept moving. Same speed. Same calm driving. Like everything was normal. But it wasn't. Not even close. I looked out the window. We were getting closer to my street. I didn't want him to know exactly where I live. But it was too late. He already knew. Then suddenly. He spoke again. Quietly. You shouldn't be afraid of me, Jason. I felt chills run down my spine. I know a lot about you, because I watch people. I couldn't breathe properly. What does that mean? He didn't answer directly. Instead, he said. People are interesting when they think no one is looking. That sentence. That sentence broke me. Because suddenly. Everything made sense. He wasn't guessing. He was watching. For how long? I had no idea. The car turned into my street. Slowly. My house was just ahead. I felt trapped. Completely trapped. Then the car stopped. Right in front of my house. The doors unlocked. Click. I didn't wait. I opened the door and jumped out. I didn't even look back. I ran straight to my front door. Fumbled with my keys. Almost dropped them. Finally got inside. Locked everything. Windows. Doors. Everything. I stood there, breathing hard. My whole body shaking. After a few seconds. I looked through the window. The car was still there. Parked. Engine running. Then slowly. The driver turned his head and looked directly at my house. At me. Even through the darkness. I knew he was looking at me. After what felt like forever. The car drove away. I didn't sleep that night. Or the next night. Or the next. The next morning. I checked the app. The ride was there. Everything normal. Driver name, Marcus. But something strange caught my attention. His profile picture looked different. Not the same person. I reported it. The company responded with a standard message. We take safety seriously. You know the rest. Nothing happened. But here's the worst part. A week later. I saw that same silver SUV again. Parked, 2 streets away. Maybe it was coincidence. Maybe not. All I know is this. Some drivers don't just pick you up. Some of them already know you. I didn't think I would ever share this story. Even now, it doesn't feel real. But it happened. And I still think about it every night. This was my last ride-share trip. And I mean that literally. I never used any ride app again after this. It was winter. Cold. Quiet. Late. Around 3 a.m. I was leaving my office after working overtime. The streets were almost empty. No taxis. No people. Just silence. I opened the app. There was only one driver available nearby. Just one. Name, Ethan. Car, dark blue sedan. Rating, 5.0. Trips, 3. That number again. Very low. But I was tired. I didn't think much. I booked the ride. The car arrived in less than a minute. Too fast. Way too fast. Almost like it was already waiting. The car stopped right in front of me. Engine running. Lights on. I walked toward it slowly. Something felt off. But I ignored it. That was my mistake. I opened the door and sat in the back. Hi, I said. No answer. The driver didn't respond. Didn't even move. Then slowly. He spoke. You're late. My heart skipped. What? You're later than usual, he said. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? No response. The car started moving. At first, everything looked normal. Same streets. Same direction. But something felt wrong. Very wrong. The driver didn't look at mirrors. Didn't check the road. Didn't react to anything. Just drove. Straight. Calm. Silent. I tried to stay calm. Long night? I asked. Nothing. Then suddenly. The car radio turned on by itself. Static. Just loud static. No music. No voice. Just noise. I leaned forward. Can you turn that off? No response. Then. Through the static. I heard something. A voice. Very faint. Like someone whispering. I froze. Did you hear that? I asked. The driver smiled. Just a little. But he still didn't look at me. The whisper got louder. I couldn't understand the words. But it sounded like someone was talking. From inside the car. I looked around. Back seats empty. No one else there. Then the GPS screen lit up. But it wasn't showing my route anymore. It was showing something else. A straight line. Leading somewhere far. Somewhere unknown. Hey, this isn't my route, I said. No answer. Stop the car. Nothing. Stop the car. Still nothing. The doors locked. Click. My heart was racing. I grabbed the handle. Pulled it. Locked. The car started speeding up. Faster. Faster. The streets disappeared. Now we were on a long empty road. No lights. No houses. Nothing. The whispering got louder. Now I could almost hear words. It sounded like, "Stay. Don't leave. Stay." I covered my ears. "This isn't real, this isn't real," I whispered. Then suddenly, the driver spoke again. "You weren't supposed to leave." My blood ran cold. "What?" He slowly turned his head. And for the first time, I saw his face clearly. His eyes. They didn't look human. No emotion. No life. Just, empty. "You took the ride," he said. "So now, you finish it." The car kept speeding. Faster than before. I looked out the window. Everything was dark. Too dark. Like we weren't even on a road anymore. Then suddenly, the car stopped. Hard. Complete silence. No engine. No radio. No whisper. Nothing. The doors unlocked. Click. I didn't wait. I jumped out of the car. Fell to the ground. Scratched my hands. Didn't care. I just ran. I didn't look back. Not once. After a few minutes, I saw lights. A road. Real road. Cars passing. I ran to the nearest person. Tried to explain. Couldn't speak properly. Someone called for help. Later, I checked the app. There was no ride. No driver. No Ethan. Nothing. No payment. No history. No proof. It was like that ride never existed. But I know it did. Because I still hear it sometimes. At night. When everything is quiet. I hear that same whisper. "Stay. Don't leave." And sometimes, when I look outside, I feel like there's a car. Waiting. Engine running. Lights on. Waiting for me. To take one last ride. So, these were 5 disturbing ride-share stories that prove one thing. Not every ride is safe. And not every driver is who they seem to be. Sometimes, the danger is not outside. It's sitting right in front of you. Holding the steering wheel. These stories may sound unbelievable. But for the people who lived them, they were very real. Next time you book a ride late at night, just remember one thing. Always check who you're getting into the car with. Because one wrong ride can change everything. If you enjoyed this video and want more real, creepy stories like this, make sure you subscribe to Mr. Vale Archives. And turn on notifications. Because the next story might be even darker. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next one.